welcome to our Stakeholder presentation video on sustainable tourism. My name is Michaelee Parr and I have with me today Miss Matilda Brown and Miss Solway. And today we're going to be discussing a recent proposal from the Spot the Leopard tourism company about a new wildlife encounters experience in Botswana. So the tour will take place over a few days, 4 days to be specific, where tourists can experience up close and personal encounters with the local wildlife, and four-wheel drive safaris to remote areas and a hippo cruise in Botswana during the day. During the night, tourists will sleep in permanently erected luxury tents in a different location each night. This proposal has brought on heavy debate amongst the community, as although the safari will likely bring economic affluence to the people of Botswana, the issue of sustainability of local wildlife has had some locals concerned. I'll first hand over to Georgia, who is a representative from the Spot the Leopard tourism company, to present her argument as to why development will bring economic growth to the people of Botswana.
Save the Leopard Foundation is a vital and ongoing successful organisation aiming to keep the world's leopards alive. By introducing the new wildlife safari experience in Africa, it allows more people from all around the world to experience what it's like on an African safari. As a leading role in the organisation of Spot the Leopard, I believe introducing this new and exciting wildlife safari will raise people's knowledge and attention with the leopards and the way in which they can help the animals. The 4-day Wild Encounters experience takes tourists into the harder to access areas in Botswana. The tour company employs locals to assist with driving, navigating and the security of our guests. This then encourages guests to attend our safari knowing their safety is our #1 priority. With all profits being made by the tour company, a proportion of this goes into Save the Leopard Foundation. The way in which the safari tour works is that guests have a total of 4 nights and each night is a new location, with permanent luxury tents having been placed around the safari. This then provides the tourists with an up-close and personal wildlife experience. We believe this tour is a good idea as it will attract many more tourists from all over the globe. With the already fitted tents scattered around the wildlife park, guests are assured their safety and protection the whole time whilst on safari. Some of our tour highlights include 4-wheel drive safari areas rarely accessed by tourists and a hippo river cruise. These tour activities would draw the attention of our tourists as it would allow them to go deep into the wild of Africa and explore places rarely seen by locals and visiting tourists. Whilst there would be a lot of negativity towards this new wildlife tour, what's the real harm? Why not let guests from all over the world experience what Africa has to offer? The economy for locals will rise with tourists stopping in at local villages on the way to buy food, drinks and souvenirs from the local residents. This will create a lot more attention for Spot the Leopard as it will allow the foundation to present to the guests what our company believes in. With the follow-through of this new development, more locals will come into a paying job, which holds a positive outlook for local residents, larger flow of tourists and lift of the economy. With the attraction of tourists, this means more profit, and more profit equals to saving more animals. If we want to save the rapidly diminishing wildlife of Africa as well as ensure their natural habitats stay preserved, money is what's going to get us there. Whilst it hasn't stopped poachers entirely, it has helped ensure that countries do provide adequate resources to attempt to catch and penalise poachers. This is just a small part of what tourist vacations dollars will get us. Another big positive is the enlightenment of Africa that we're able to share with the rest of the world. People from around the world view Africa as more undeveloped than it is. The 4-day Wild Encounters tour will allow the world to see Africa for what it really is. Research has shown Africa is at a tipping point. Population growth and poverty are 2 big effects suffered by local Africans. Although the tourist park will not be a positive impact on every village throughout Botswana, the tourist money will play a leading role to recovery. As one of the tour's main objectives is providing guests with an up-close and personal experience, the way in which animals live and the threat of poachers and the crumbling environment around them, people will become more apparent to wanting to help the foundation protect the wildlife. Spot the Leopard Foundation strongly believes in opening this new exciting wildlife safari to the public.
Thank you very much, Georgia. So while the economic benefits are clearly favourable to the community, this proposal has been met with heavy debate, especially surrounding the protection and conservation of the local wildlife in Botswana. So I'm going to hand over to Tilly now, who's from the local village, to present her argument as to why we should not go ahead with development.
Thank you. 85% of wildlife has been lost in the past 35 years all over Africa, and this is still rapidly growing higher. This is from the constant safaris that already run in the wildlife parks, and the poachers that are seeing these wild animals through the safaris already. The idea to build a new development in Botswana as an experience is only contributing to this percentage. The development idea that is to build a number of permanent tents all in different locations, not only will this limit the space for the wild animals, but it also ruins the natural land that stands there today. Botswana's wildlife is already a well-running safari, with constant attraction and tourists visiting the natural area to see the animals in their own natural environment, with limited and enough environmental impact. Why would it need anything extra? Is it to help the local community by bringing in money? While this is positive, it has its side effects too. Firstly, where is the money coming from to build these new tents? The original day tours that take place already will have to stop to build the new development. This will stop income from surrounding communities and to keep these parks the best that they can be. What will happen to the animals at this time? Where will they go, and where will they go when their homes and multiple other areas are under construction? The more safaris you're asking to provide results in more vehicles driving through and around the wildlife area. Not only putting pollution into the air from the car fumes, but also the cars that you'll be driving will be ruining the natural grounds that the wild animals rely on for their natural habitat and to help them survive. The amount of people you are willing to bring into the area to sleep in the tents and to drive around in safaris will have a crippling effect on these animals, as the noise pollution that will be given off will just scare the animals away. The animals are not used to this kind of noise. How will they cope? Not to mention the construction and machines that will be used in the manufacturing process of building the permanent tents. I can guarantee you that this will certainly clear out the area of all wild animals rather than bringing them closer. The visitors to your new establishment would be leaving rubbish and litter and food scraps around the area. This will attract animals, and for them to feed on these food scraps is extremely dangerous for their health, as these animals will be changing their eating habits. Animals could become sick or used to this happening and hang around these areas, which could potentially be a danger to tourists visiting. These wild animals are used to their own areas, their homes, and also their own breeding nests. By placing your construction areas in areas that could be home to one of the thousands of species that roam in the Botswana wildlife is unimaginable. Where will they all go? It is destroying what they are used to, and from this they could be distraught, depressed, or even deadly. Another item you're offering in your package is a hippo river cruise. Not only does this again defeat the purpose of wild animals living in their own habitat undisturbed, but you're also placing these visitors into a high risk of encountering in an altercation with one of the world's deadliest animals. Your boats will pollute the rivers that these beautiful animals call home. Your boats will create noise pollution and scare away the hippos and other animals that come down to the river edge for water supply, or other animals that use or call this river home. As I mentioned at the start, poachers can use this as a platform to research areas and species that they can then hunt, increasing the percentage of species going extinct in Botswana even higher. There will suddenly be an alarming demand for souvenirs which are made from the hunting of these animals. These are just a few of the many reasons I am against this development. I am also here to beg all of you out there listening to help stop this development from going forward and to help save our animals, their land, and most importantly, the beautiful Botswana wildlife, to which they all call home.
So, question time. Tilly, do you think that having some of the proceeds of the wildlife encounter go towards the Save the Leopard Foundation will actually help the wildlife in terms of sustainability? Or do you think that there is better ways to ensure the protection of these animals?
While I do think it could be both beneficial and unbeneficial, I think it could be beneficial as it will help with the economic sustainability within the local community by offering them and providing them with more jobs and job opportunities for them to participate. But I do think that it is unbeneficial for the wildlife and the natural land that's already there, while the construction that is being put in place from this development will destroy their homes, their eating patterns, and it's not what they're going to be used to.
Yeah, fair enough. And Georgia, what will Spot the Leopard do to manage your experience if, say, any of the wildlife are disturbed, displaced, or endangered by your safari tour?
Yeah, well, Spot the Leopard are always looking positively into the future. Our number one priority is the safety of all animals. If by any chance the wildlife is disturbed, displaced, or endangered, plans have been set in place to immediately fix this situation by ensuring the outside public and, most importantly, poachers cannot gain access to the wildlife without a proper guide or authority. We believe this will play a role in the protection of the wildlife. Our foundation, along with many others, have put in its best efforts to keep our wildlife safe from harm. We believe strongly in sustainable tourism to prevent the cause of endangering the wildlife. Small things that can include eco-efficient safari vans and biodegradable utensils used within the different camping grounds. Both these small sustainable ideas can go a long way in helping the environment in which our wildlife live in. And adaptive management is a common term used when describing the careful watch of managing wildlife tourism. Adaptive management requires plans and objective for wildlife and tourism in combination with the continuous monitoring and evaluation of tourism and its effect on wildlife. As a foundation, we believe that some of our ideas may be small, but they play a key part in keeping our wildlife safe from harm.
Excellent. Well, thank you both for answering my questions. Some of the main points that we've heard today, from Georgia's perspective, we've heard of the economic benefits it can have for the community, giving locals employment through the increased tourism into the area. Especially in Africa, they could extremely benefit from the extra tourism. It would also be beneficial in bringing environmental awareness into Botswana's endangered wildlife, and having proceeds going to saving the leopards would be undeniably beneficial for conservation and the protection of the wildlife. This will also help allow people from all over the world to experience Africa and all the nature and beauty that it has to offer. But from the other side, the animals and the wildlife are a key component to Africa's beauty, culture and heritage. And bringing an influx of tourism to the area could have potentially harmful effects to their well-being. As Tilly pointed out, the construction of these tents to begin with can create an unsettling environment for local animals. Then when the tourists arrive, they often leave rubbish, scare wildlife with the noise, and take an interest in souvenirs which sometimes are made from animal products. This could even lead to an increase in the amount of poachers who take an interest in the area disguised as tourists. But we want to thank you all for joining us today in our stakeholder presentation. It's clear that the arguments from both sides have merit, and both representatives today have done a spectacular job in providing their arguments. This has been Michaelee, Georgia and Tilly, and we hope that this has been informative enough for you to decide whether or not this project should go ahead. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.